Good morning, America. The major cross-country storm on the move, bracing for impact as tariffs take effect, and the I Will Always Love You love story. Millions of Americans on alert for heavy snow, blizzard conditions, winds, and fire threat as a major storm takes aim. Plus, the tornado watch issued just in time for rush hour this morning as firefighters in the Carolinas battle wildfires overnight. Ginger is tracking it all.
Breaking overnight, President Trump's tariffs take hold as he prepares to give his first address to a joint session of Congress since returning to the White House. The president ramps up economic pressure on Canada, Mexico, and China, while economists warn tariffs could raise prices for Americans on everything from fresh produce to clothes to cars and gas. This morning, how soon you could see price hikes.
Cut off. The president temporarily pausing all military aid to Ukraine after last week's Oval Office clash with President Zelensky.
Breaking news, the latest on Pope Francis's condition after he suffered from 2 respiratory crises. We are live at the Vatican.
False alarms. The investigation after several flights received warnings that they were on a collision course with another aircraft while preparing to land at a major U.S. airport.
Hailed a hero the moment the school bus ignited. How the driver quickly jumped into action to safely evacuate all the students on board.
Thank you so very much for making all bus drivers across the state proud.
Don't miss his story, only on GMA.
I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
And the man who inspired the hit song Jolene, Dolly Parton's husband, Carl Dean, passing away after being by her side for 6 decades. This morning, their love story.
Live from Times Square, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
Love that voice. Good morning, America. We're going to have much more on Dolly and her husband just ahead.
Also, it is a big morning in Washington, as we said. Trump's tariffs are taking hold overnight as he prepares to address a joint session of Congress tonight.
But first, we begin with the major cross-country storm on the move right now. At least 30 states from California to New York are on alert for heavy snow, blizzard conditions, damaging winds. Ginger is here tracking it all for us. Good morning,
Yeah,
Ginger.
violent wake up for parts of Oklahoma and Texas. The picture behind me, we just got in like a minute ago from Parker County, Texas. This is west of Fort Worth. An RV park has damage from that squall line that has had embedded tornadoes in it. We've seen that throughout the morning. Dallas has had lightning-filled skies this morning, and the damaging winds have showed up in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour with this line. So we're seeing some tornado warnings around McAlester, Oklahoma earlier this morning, and then down. The watch goes through Texarkana until 11 a.m., but the thing's not going to stop there. Anticipate that those watches will keep being issued to the east as we go through the late morning and early afternoon. So Jackson, Mississippi, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, that's why we saw all of those Mardi Gras plans and celebrations canceled. Ahead of this, Pensacola, Florida even makes it into the elevated tornado threat. So not only will you have the 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, but embedded in there you get a little twist. Now from Virginia Beach right down through Charleston, tomorrow during the day, so that's during daylight hours, you're going to have storms in Pittsburgh down to North Florida too. On the northern side of this, there are blizzard warnings, which we'll get to, but look at southeast New Mexico yesterday. This is just the wind ahead of this system. That's a dust storm that caused accidents in southeastern New Mexico. We saw gusts of 70 miles per hour. You see everybody smothered in yellow from Iowa back down to Florida, Alabama included too. Power lines could come down, and that's not even with the actual line of storms. So keep an eye on those winds today.
A lot coming. Okay, Ginger, thank you. We're going to go to Washington now. And that breaking news overnight. President Trump's tariffs taking hold as the president prepares to address a joint session of Congress. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the latest. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, it is a big day here for President Trump. His first address to a joint session of Congress since returning to the White House. He is expected to celebrate his cuts to the federal government, lay out his foreign policy vision, and tout his economic efforts as he puts in place these sweeping new tariffs on some of America's closest allies, sparking fears of a trade war. This morning, President Trump preparing to make his case to Congress as he ramps up the economic pressure on some of America's biggest trading partners, imposing stinging new 25% tariffs on all goods coming across the border from Mexico and Canada, and adding another 10% on Chinese goods.
Tariffs are easy, they're fast, they're efficient, and they bring fairness.
But economists warn it could raise prices for Americans as businesses pass on rising costs to consumers. By one estimate, the average American household could spend up to $2,000 more a year on everything from produce to clothes to new cars. Trump undeterred.
What they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs.
Overnight, Canada swift to respond. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying there's no justification for these tariffs and imposing an immediate 25% tariff on $30 billion of American goods, with more to come. China retaliating with an additional 10 to 15% tariff on some U.S. goods, including chicken, wheat, soybeans, and beef, and calling Trump's actions bullying behavior. Legendary investor Warren Buffett says tariffs are essentially an act of war.
I mean, tariffs are actually, we've had a lot of experience with them. They're an act of war to some degree.
The news Monday triggering a sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow down over 600 points. The S&P 500 posting its biggest losses since December. Trump insists his tariffs are meant to pressure Mexico and Canada to stop the flow of deadly drugs and migrants into the U.S. But less than 1% of the fentanyl seized coming into the U.S. last year came from Canada. Over the last month, both countries trying to negotiate with the administration. Canada appointing a fentanyl czar, Mexico deploying 10,000 troops to the border, and sending back criminals wanted in the U.S. Already, Canadians venting their anger. Booing the Star-Spangled Banner as the LA Galaxy soccer team played the Vancouver Whitecaps over the weekend. And when Trump first threatened tariffs last month, Canadian liquor stores ripped American whiskey off the shelves. Speaking to the nation tonight, the president likely to defend his move. He's also expected to revel in his remaking of the federal government. The man spearheading those changes, billionaire Elon Musk, will be there in the chamber looking on as Democratic lawmakers protest, bringing along as guests some of the very workers the administration has fired.
I want Donald Trump and Elon Musk, our co-presidents, to look straight at some of the people that they have laid off.
Now, the White House says the theme of the president's address tonight will be the renewal of the American dream, and they're promoting this as must-see TV. Meanwhile, Democratic Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan, a swing state that Trump won, will deliver the official Democratic response. She's expected to reach out to working-class Americans and push back on the president's firings and cuts to the federal government. George.
Okay, Mary, thanks. And all of you at home can see the presidential address to the nation and the Democratic response tonight at 9, 8 Central, right here on ABC. Robin?
All right, George, let's get more on President Trump's tariffs and what they could mean for consumers. Elizabeth Schulze joins us to break down the potential impact. And Elizabeth, what kind of products are going to be affected by these tariffs on America's top trading partners?
Hey, good morning, Robin. Well, the short answer here is that a lot of products that we buy day to day could get more expensive. Groceries, gas, shoes, clothes, electronics. Mexico, Canada, and China, they accounted for almost half of all of the goods that were shipped into the U.S. last year. And the way that these tariffs work is that American businesses that are importing goods from those countries will now have to pay the U.S. government a higher fee for their products to cross the border. A key goal there is to incentivize companies to rely on domestic manufacturers to boost jobs here. But in the short term, those American businesses will have to decide if they absorb higher costs from the tariffs or if they pass them down to their customers, Robin.
Okay, so if companies do pass down the costs, how soon could consumers pay higher prices?
Okay, so if these tariffs stay in place, economists expect you could start to see price hikes by Memorial Day. For groceries, it could be within weeks or even days, Robin. So take fresh produce, for example. About 63% of U.S. vegetable imports come from Mexico. Think bell peppers, cucumbers, strawberries, tomatoes, limes, avocados, a lot of that fresh produce. And grocers, they can't really stockpile those foods in advance. So if they decide to pass down the entire 25% tariff, that means your $3 avocado could end up costing $3.75 pretty quickly. Liquor, like tequila and Canadian whiskey, could also get more expensive. And then the auto sector, really another big one at risk here. Automakers rely on thousands of different car parts that are traded between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. If they are paying more to get those parts, you could end up paying $3,000 more for a new car. And some of the dealers that we've talked to say that they might raise those prices within months, Robin.
And many are wondering about gas prices, Elizabeth. Could they go up too?
They could. So about 60% of the crude oil that the U.S. imports comes from Canada. Our refineries are actually uniquely built to process Canadian oil. The national average right now for a gallon of gas, about $3. Gas Buddy expects that the tariffs mean prices could go up by 15 cents a gallon in the Midwest, as much as 40 cents a gallon within a week in the Northeast, Robin.
All right, Elizabeth, our thanks to you. Michael?
All right, Robin. The president also put all U.S. military aid to Ukraine on hold in the wake of last week's Oval Office confrontation with President Zelensky. Our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, is tracking the latest. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Michael. This is one more gut punch to Ukraine following Friday's disastrous confrontation in the Oval Office. Officials telling ABC News that all U.S. military aid to Ukraine will be suspended. That means more than $1 billion in armored vehicles and ammunition. The vast majority of aid approved during the Biden administration has already been delivered to the country. But if this so-called pause lasts weeks or months, it could have a profound effect on the war and put Russia in an even better negotiating position. And officials say this suspension will not be lifted until President Zelensky ensures he is contributing to a solution to end the war, they say. Russia is the benefactor in all of this. Not only will they continue pounding a weakened Ukraine, but there has been no real pressure on Russia to give up anything, even though it was Russia that invaded Ukraine. Michael?
Yeah, it's kind of like being angry and you say, I'm going to take my ball and go home, Martha. And, you know, this isn't the first time the U.S. military aid has been withheld.
Exactly, Michael. Last year, with the encouragement of Donald Trump, congressional Republicans held up aid for Ukraine, which officials said left some air defenses significantly affected. Michael?
All right, Martha, thank you so much. George?
Hey, Michael, thanks. Bringing up the latest now on Pope Francis. Early this morning, Vatican officials announced that the 88-year-old had been stabilized after suffering 2 respiratory crises. Senior national correspondent Terry Moran is at the Vatican. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, George. Vatican says today that the Pope slept well through the night and is resting today. This quiet morning comes after the Pope was struck yesterday by those 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure. That is a term that the Vatican has not used. Francis's oxygen levels plunged at that time due to a significant accumulation of mucus in his lungs. So doctors performed 2 bronchoscopies. They're inserting a tube down the Pope's throat in order to clear out that mucus from his lungs. The Vatican says the Pope remained conscious throughout and that he responded to that treatment. He has been able to resume some light respiratory physiotherapy to strengthen his lungs, and he is not on any kind of mechanical ventilation at this time. But Francis's doctors say his prognosis remains guarded. They are taking this one day at a time and have offered no indication of when the Pope might be able to leave the hospital. Guys.
All right, Terry, our thanks for you being there for us. Thank you. For more, let's bring in ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Dara Khosrowshahi. So we hear that the Pope's condition sounds like it is improving, but as Terry just reported, he had 2 episodes of respiratory failure. How commonly does that happen in the recovery of pneumonia?
We can definitely see that happen, and it is one of these situations that needs to be dealt with emergently. It can come on suddenly, and essentially it is a situation where the lungs are not able to exchange gases properly. So we have low oxygen in the blood, we have a buildup of carbon dioxide sometimes, or waste product in the blood. And it can happen for a number of reasons. So pneumonia being one of them, heart failure, asthma, COPD, blood clots, and people can really decline. So their heart rate can go up, their respiratory rate can go up, they can get fatigue, lack of mental awareness or confusion. And so usually we treat it with different mechanisms of support. In this case, you heard they did a bronchoscopy to take out the secretions, which was one cause of his respiratory failure, and also what they said was bronchospasm, so tightening of those airways. And so with that non-invasive mechanical ventilation, you may think of something like a CPAP machine. We call it CPAP or BiPAP, where we push the air into the lungs to improve the flow. It usually is considered either a step towards or trying to stave off intubation, where we have to put a breathing tube down, or trying to avoid it, right? So it is that step right before someone might end up in the intensive care unit.
And we keep hearing acute respiratory failure. What exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, that's really where the lungs can't exchange that gas properly, and that can be a very dangerous situation. I think the fact that, he has avoided intubation or ending up in the ICU, he's not on blood pressure supporting medicines, these are all encouraging signs. They've also said his white blood cells, the ones that fight infection, have remained stable, so it doesn't seem like there's a new infection. So certainly these these things show us that there are signs of improvement. Now he's off the non-invasive mechanical ventilation. That's the latest we've heard, and he's just on supplemental oxygen. So, good signs, but a lot of this stop and go improvement and backtracking, and that sometimes happens in 88-year-olds in the hospital with pneumonia.
Right, and when doctors say the prognosis is guarded, that means?
I think that that's probably the right way to say that. That means we don't know, George, and I think we're going to have to see. I mean, clearly he had an aspiration event on Friday where, some of the vomit went in the lungs. That can be damaging sometimes to the lungs. We know he has a condition called bronchiectasis, which is a chronic inflammation in the airways where it's hard to get that mucus out. He had part of his lung removed. So the road is going to be tricky, I think, over the next few days. We'd like to see it get to the point where we're not seeing, him back and forth with the non-invasive mechanical ventilation and the oxygen, and really we're able to wean him off the oxygen and get him out of the hospital. We know the longer patients stay in the hospital, the more they're at risk for infections, blood clots, and other kinds of complications.
Thanks for coming in today. Now to new concerns at Reagan National Airport after multiple planes received false collision alerts on approach to land. The FAA is now investigating. Transportation correspondent Gio Panita is tracking the story. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, George. Yeah, this one is really a head scratcher. Pilots receiving those collision warnings, even though no other aircraft was around. Now, this is important because it's critical that pilots aren't distracted and they're focused on that runway.
It's been happening all morning. Let me know if you see anything. No one else has seen anything.
This morning, an urgent investigation underway after several flight crews preparing to land at Reagan National Airport over the weekend received warnings that they were on a collision course with another aircraft, but no others were anywhere nearby. Listen to the confusion.
We got a couple of traffic advisories, the cautions. We didn't see anybody either.
There's no known traffic between you and the field. We've had multiple arrivals today report CAs and RAs for unknown targets. Use caution.
A source with direct knowledge telling ABC News 6 planes reported receiving those mid-air collision warnings in the cockpit Saturday, 3 forced to perform go-arounds. The traffic collision avoidance systems in cockpits, known as TCAS, are meant to tell pilots if their plane is in danger of colliding with another aircraft. But this morning, no word on why those pilots were receiving false alarms.
It's a potential major distraction of a flight crew at a very critical time of flight, which is landing. You don't want all of a sudden to be looking for traffic on one side or the other. You want to be concentrating on the runway. So if these are not real warnings, and they haven't been, they're distracting and they're dangerous.
It's especially terrifying because it was at this exact airport where a Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines plane in January, killing 67 people. The NTSB still investigating what went wrong. Meanwhile, Airlines for America, that's the lobbying group for the major U.S. airlines, will testify before a House subcommittee today, calling for the permanent suspension of some helicopter routes over at Reagan. They also want all military aircraft to broadcast their exact location near airports to avoid a crash like that.
Every day.
Every day.
It seems like there's something.
I know you were asking what's going on.
All right. Thank you, Gio. Appreciate you. And coming up, we hear from the hero bus driver who saved all the students on his bus before it was engulfed in flames, only on GMA.
Plus, Stephen A. Smith is here telling us about his interview with former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo as he attempts a political comeback.
And a glimpse into the wonderful love story of Dolly Parton and her husband, Carl Dean, who passed away after nearly 6 decades of marriage. And Dolly shared a few cherished memories with me over the years about her marriage, and we'll share them with you. But coming up new at 7:30, Serena Williams back on the court. We'll tell you how. We'll be right back. Back here on GMA, and we are thinking of Dolly Parton this morning. Her husband of almost 60 years, Carl Dean, has passed away. He inspired that timeless hit, Jolene. Dolly said the key to their happy marriage was love, respect, and a whole lot of fun. And we're going to have much more on Dolly and Carl coming up.
Yeah, she spoke to you about that on many occasions. Looking forward to that. First new at 7:30, overnight firefighters in the Carolinas battled wildfires fueled by bone-dry conditions. 10 new fires ignited yesterday, but in South Carolina, officials say the state is turning the corner. Residents are being warned about poor air quality due to smoke, and a ban on burning anything outdoors remains in effect. Also, police in Germany investigating after a car rammed into a crowd during a celebration in the city of Mannheim. At least 2 people were killed, 25 others injured. Suspect in custody after he shot himself when officers moved in.
Plus, First Lady Melania Trump used her first public comments since returning to the White House to voice support for the Take It Down Act, a bill aimed at protecting victims of deep fakes, including images created with artificial intelligence. Also, Serena Williams is back on the court, taking a shot at the WNBA. The 23-time Grand Slam champion has become part owner of Toronto Tempo. They're the 15th team to join the league, expected to start their first season in 2026. And a big congratulations to my dear friend, my guy, Jimmy Johnson, on his retirement after 31 years as analyst for Fox NFL Sunday. I look to my left here, I see you too. I look to my left for the last 17 seasons, and I see Jimmy. Truly,
I
like
love this
we're all
picture of
family.
you.
I love that man to no end, and I wish him the best. I know he's going to enjoy fishing, boating, and drinking his Heineken Lights. His favorite things.
Good. Thanks for sharing that, Michael.
All right.
Appreciate that, Val.
And I know now we're going to turn to Dolly Parton.
Because we're thinking of her, and we're going to look back on a wonderful, wonderful love story. Dolly Parton's husband, Carl Dean, who supported the country music star in life, love, and her career, passing away at 82. I have had the privilege of sitting down with Dolly over the years, and at times she shared a glimpse into their nearly 6 decades of marriage. Overnight, Dolly Parton announcing the death of her husband of nearly 60 years, Carl Dean. Parton and Dean met outside the Wishy Washy laundromat on the day she moved to Nashville at 18 years old. The country legend sharing their story with me in 2019.
There was a laundromat down from my little apartment where I was going to be staying. So the very day I go down to the laundromat, this good-looking man just drives by, and he says something like, well, what are you going to get sunburned out here? And I say something stupid like, well, what's it to you? We start talking, and 2 years later we married, and we're still married, and that was that.
You just go walking in with your dirty clothes, and you walk out with
Carl Dean.
Dean opening up about his first impression of Dolly in a rare public statement to Entertainment Tonight. My first thought was, I'm going to marry that girl. Adding, that was the day my life began. The pair would marry 2 years later in 1966, but the singer's ultra-private husband preferring to stay out of the spotlight.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
Dolly telling NPR that she wrote the iconic song Jolene about a bank teller who was flirting with her man.
You could have your choice of men, but I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene.
She got this terrible crush on my husband, and he just loved going to the bank because she paid him so much attention. It was kind of like a running joke between us, but I was saying, hell, you're spending a lot of time at the bank. I don't believe we've got that kind of money.
Carl even inspiring Dolly to change her tune. There was someone who put rock songs in your ear from the very beginning. Who is it?
Well, it's my husband, Carl Dean. From the time I met him in 1964, he just had rock and roll blasts, and that's his music. The louder, the better.
Dolly sharing the news of Dean's passing on Instagram, saying, Carl and I spent many wonderful years together. Words can't do justice to the love we shared for over 60 years. Carl Dean was 82 years old. I don't know of a kinder person than Dolly Parton. It's so lovely that she was able to protect that side of her life.
Yeah.
And her husband, he didn't want anything to do with the spotlight, just loved life, career, and this is a beautiful love story.
Yeah, to be able to do that,
story.
you know they loved each other, they respected each other.
That's it. And the service for him will be private as well as it should be.
Now with Stephen A. Smith of ESPN's First Take and the Stephen A. Smith Show. On the show, he just interviewed former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Welcome. Thanks for coming in here.
Good to see you, George. How you doing?
Of course, Cuomo was the governor of New York, forced out, now trying to make a political comeback as mayor of New York City. What was your impression?
Well, my impression is that he's ready. You know, he believes he's the man for the job. Obviously, he was a 3-term governor for the state of New York, and his mentality is he knows how to get things done. And there's a lot in New York City in his eyes that needs to get done, particularly affordable housing and primarily, safety in the streets. And he thinks that anything that you want to do, that you want to accomplish, it starts first with safety in the streets, because if that's compromised, then everything gets compromised. That's his mentality.
He was forced out after questions about his personal conduct. Yeah. And you asked him about what he has to say to voters who question whether they can trust him. Let's take a look.
Sure.
If what you're saying is, or if what the voter says is, I'm worried about New York, I think the city's in trouble, I'm anxious about the subways, I'm anxious about the crime, I'm anxious about the homeless, mentally ill on the streets, I'm anxious that there's no affordable housing, I can't afford to live here, I'm getting priced out of New York, I need someone who can actually get something done. I'm tired of these politicians, promise, and then nothing changes. And I want someone who has proven their ability to actually make things happen. Then I'm your person.
That's the first salvo, but he's going to face those questions throughout the campaign.
Yes, and he knows it, and I think he's going to be ready for it. And I think the message that he was trying to send is that it's about getting things done. And, basically, I think it was I wouldn't say an indirect shot at Eric Adams, but clearly you're about to get on the campaign trail. You're pointing to some of the problems the mayor has at this particular moment in time, the DOJ stepping in. I asked him for the charges against him to be dismissed. He thinks that Eric Adams, to some degree, may be a bit compromised in terms of his ability to get things done, and he doesn't believe that's any longer a problem for him. So because of that, I think that's why he's stepping back into the race, and clearly he's ahead in the polls already. So we'll see what happens.
You've been stirring up a lot of political speculation yourself. How real is this? It's
not real at all. I'm incredibly happy being a sports analyst, doing what I do, but I've always enjoyed talking about politics, talking about the issues that affect the average American citizen in the world. And anytime anybody asks me a question, I usually have an answer in that regard. I'm not running from it, but I have no desire to run for office. I think it's an absolute travesty that I'm actually in polls, for crying out loud. But I think it's an indictment against the Democratic Party because of some of the things that they've done and the way they handled things leading up to the election. It's an indictment against them. But guys like Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, and others being in this race just reminds me, I have my place, they have theirs. I do what I do. They do politics. I like talking about it.
So that's Sherman-esque. You're not going to run.
I'm not. Absolutely not. I have no intentions of doing anything like so. I like my life very, very much.
Well, let's talk about your day and night job,
Yes.
NBA. What do you think of Luka Doncic over in LA now?
I think that he's a sensational player. Led the league in scoring nearly 34 points a game last year. Was averaging 28 this year before he got hurt and then ultimately traded. Him with LeBron James in LA, they've clearly ascended. But that's not the reason why, believe it or not. It's because of the Los Angeles Lakers and the way they've been playing defense over the last 6.5 weeks. Nobody saw that coming. Because of that, the Lakers are a formidable foe in the Western Conference. They can make some noise. They can end up being in the NBA Finals. Boston could end up, they're the favorites to come out of the East, even though the Cleveland Cavaliers might have something to say about that. And who knows, it could be Boston, LA on a collision course, reminding us of a lot of things.
How about Steph Curry and the Warriors? They seem revitalized.
Well, they revitalized because of the acquisition of Jimmy Butler, no question about that, and the babyface assassin that is Steph Curry is something to behold. Make no mistake about that, but when you look at rosters in Oklahoma City, in Los Angeles, possibly in Denver, maybe in Dallas when two of those guys come back healthy, Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford, then it can make things very interesting. I think the Warriors on the outside looking in, but anytime you've got Steph Curry and he's got a partner like Jimmy Butler and, of course, Draymond Green, we can't forget him, they could surprise some people. But right now, the Lakers would be the team to watch legitimately with what they bring to the table, led by LeBron James. They could beat anybody.
Thanks for coming to the studio. Great to have you here.
See you, George.
Michael?
I was saying, George holding his own, talking to Stephen.
Yeah, George, that was impressive, your sports talk, buddy. Not used to that.
Doing my best,
I love it. You two switch, Stephen politics, George sports. There we go. Let's do it. All right. Thank you to Stephen A. Smith and, of course, our sports guy, George Stephanopoulos. Coming up, our exclusive with Olympic gold medalist Jordan Child, the gymnast, to talk about what happened at the Paris Games in her new memoir. She's here live in Times Square.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Millions of Americans on alert for heavy snow, blizzard conditions, winds, and fire threat as a major storm takes aim. Plus, the tornado watch issued just in time for rush hour this morning as firefighters in the Carolinas battle wildfires overnight. Ginger is tracking it all.
The ride of the future. Uber and Waymo accelerating their expansion of driverless cars.
It does feel very futuristic.
Stephanie Ramos got an exclusive ride as they launch in Austin, Texas, with more cities on the way. How they stack up on safety.
Olympic champion Jordan Childs is here live, talking about if she wants to compete in the Olympics again in her new memoir.
And the doctor is in. Joshua Jackson live in Times Square, talking about the return of Doctor Odyssey. And he's saying,
"Good morning, America. Welcome to the Odyssey."
Live from Times Square, it's Tuesday. Good morning, America.
He hit it with that deep voice. Yes. Good morning, America. We're so happy to have Jordan Child and Joshua Jackson here. And Becky Worley is here with our Science of You series. This morning, she's going to break down how at-home tests help diagnose the flu or COVID and help you with what to do next.
Because it's 'tis the season still. All right. Also had the hero school bus driver saved his students from a burning bus. We're going to hear from him just ahead.
Just an amazing story. First, look at the top stories breaking today. We start with the major cross-country storm on the move right now. At least 30 states on alert. Ginger here with the track and timing. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, George. More than 400,000 customers without power already. This is a really strong to severe line of storms busting through. This is Parker County, Texas, north and west, or just west of Fort Worth. Dallas earlier this morning had the lightning blasting through. We've seen it along I-20, and that's where you're going to have to watch out. Also I-40, because we've got a brand new severe thunderstorm watch that just came up into southwestern Missouri, into the Ozarks there, Fayetteville and Fort Smith in Arkansas. So damaging wind, easily 60 to 70 miles per hour, but also tornadoes. And we expect that the tornado watches will keep marching east today because the line's going to do just that. So Jackson, Mississippi to Pensacola, Mobile, down along the Mississippi Gulf Coast to New Orleans. And that's why you saw those Mardi Gras plans and celebrations canceled, because not only is it going to have the severe storms come through this afternoon, but they're also going to have very windy conditions. We had gusts upwards of 70 miles per hour create major problems in the panhandle of Texas, which I'll show you. But tomorrow, the storms are going to keep on moving to the east, Virginia Beach down to Charleston, damaging wind the main threat. Let's go ahead and go back to Michael.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Ginger. We're going to turn now to the latest immigration raid overnight. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott was just embedded on an ICE operation in Virginia. Good morning, Rachel.
Michael, good morning to you. Yes, we were out with ICE for hours overnight as they went forward with two targeted operations. The administration says that they are going after what they call the worst first, individuals who are in this country illegally but have a known criminal record. But as we saw firsthand today, it is not stopping there. At the second ICE operation, agents arresting one man who they say was deported twice and re-entered the country illegally. Officials say he has been convicted of sexual battery, but inside that residence, there were two minors and an uncle. Agents believe that the uncle is undocumented. They told him to turn himself into immigration authorities in 2 days. So we asked the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, what happens to those minors?
This family, we don't know what other family members they have. That's why he has 2 days to go locate them and make sure these kids are with someone in their family that they believe will keep them safe and set a better example for them.
There is that likelihood that these families could be separated.
There is consequences, and we're giving him time to leave these children with someone else.
So DHS tells us that they handle these situations on a case-by-case basis, but there are still so many questions this morning on what exactly happens to minors in these scenarios. I will tell you, this was an all-hands-on-deck situation this morning. It was not just ICE agents. It was also the FBI, the DEA, and the ATF, Robin.
All right. Our thanks to you, Rachel. We're going to go now to the hero driver who saved 15 students from a burning school bus. He's telling his story only on GMA this morning, recounting the terrifying moments as flames engulfed the vehicle. Janae Norman is here with that story for us. Good morning, Janae.
Good morning, Robin. Those images are terrifying. My son rides a bus. No parent would ever want to see that. But this bus driver, he's been driving for 11 years. Dorian Pace says he has never seen anything like this. But he says that he does bus evacuation drills a couple times a year, and those drills absolutely came in handy just last week.
I actually felt like the bus was about to blow up.
It was a dramatic scene, a fireball, causing many to fear the worst.
This is going to be a bus vehicle on fire, unsure if it is occupied.
But thanks to school bus driver Dorian Pace, he and all 15 students making it off unharmed before the flames got out of control.
Thank you so very much for making all bus drivers across the state proud. Yes.
He's now being hailed a hero.
I would feel such a level of comfort putting my kids on one of your school buses, knowing that there are men and women of this character.
The bus was heading to Monticello Middle School in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, Thursday morning, when Pace says he heard a loud boom coming from underneath the bus.
When I pulled over, I actually heard another boom, and I saw smoke coming from the right rear tire, and then I saw flames.
Pace says once he saw the flames, he went into what he calls bus evacuation mode.
And what was going through my mind was, I can't lose any kids. So I quickly got everybody off the bus. We all exited through the regular front door because the fire was coming from the right rear.
The fire quickly spread throughout the entire bus. Students, at first unaware of just how serious it was.
We were all scared. We called our parents. It was like a couple of booms. Then when we got somewhere, I forgot exactly where it was, the bus driver said, everybody get off the bus.
Residents nearby watching in fear as it all unfolded.
I heard a big boom. I looked out the window and I saw flames coming from the side of the bus.
Authorities say the fire sparked somewhere between the wheel well. The exact cause is still under investigation. Pace says his prayers were answered that day.
I pray on the bus every day. I try to pray before I pick up the kids, and God just answered my prayers.
There you have it. Dorian went back to driving that very same day. The school district says the bus did pass its annual inspection just 2 weeks prior to the incident. And while we wait for answers, the praise here goes to the driver's quick actions, the students' cooperation, and bus evacuation drills, all credited with getting everybody off that bus. And the entire fleet of buses will now be re-inspected just out of an abundance of caution.
He should do that.
Yes.
Boy, he's being recognized for his
Absolutely. And the fact that he prays over the bus and those kids every morning.
Oh, I heard that too.
We want bus drivers like that.
Yeah, we do. Coming up in our GMA Morning Menu, our first look at the new driverless Ubers hitting the road this morning in a major city, how they may help lower costs.
Also, Dr. Narula breaks down the new guide just released for parents on healthy screen habits for teens.
Also ahead, Doctor Odyssey star Joshua Jackson and Olympic gold medal gymnast Jordan Child are here, and Josh is about to set sail on the show's return, and Jordan is unveiling her new memoir. And Lara is with Tori Johnson. Hey, Lara.
Hey, Michael. Yeah, Tori's celebrating Women's History Month in a big way, bringing us really great products from these women business owners, everything from bling to beauty to home and all that. Great prices. That's the way she does it. Coming up on Good Morning America. Stay with us.
Nice shot of Times Square here in New York City, and we're back now with our GMA cover story, the increasing number of driverless cars. They're already available in a few U.S. cities, and that list is about to get longer. Stephanie Ramos is here with the story. Good morning, Stephanie.
Hey, Michael. Good morning. Uber is a popular way to get around for many, right? It's easy. You just open up the app, request your ride, see your driver's photo, and then wait for them to pull up. Make sure you check the plate. These rides, though, will be missing something in cities very soon, and we got an exclusive look at the driverless ride in Austin, Texas.
It's the ride of the future. Uber announcing it's launching driverless cars with partner Waymo in Austin starting this morning, and Atlanta in the next few months, adding to its fleet in Phoenix.
It looks just like the Uber app.
Uber's CEO Dara Khosrowshahi giving us an exclusive look as we took one of those rides around Austin. We order our car just like we would any other Uber.
We got matched with a Waymo.
The app does tell us a Waymo driverless car is coming.
Here it is.
Waymo's coming up.
Once we buckle up,
ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
We just press Start Ride on the screen.
Hello from Waymo.
And we're on our way.
It does feel very futuristic.
The car covered in 29 cameras and sensors that detect traffic and other obstacles.
This is a pretty complex turn right here.
Yeah, it's making a
Let's take a
U-turn
look.
right now.
Exactly.
There's plenty of traffic coming in on the opposite side.
The car's trained to avoid situations like this scooter rider who fell into the street, seen in this video recorded by a Waymo car. If any issue does come up during your ride, there's a call button for assistance, which was necessary in incidents like this one in Phoenix.
This car is just going in circles.
A man says he was stuck in a Waymo circling an airport parking lot. Waymo, minutes later, able to correct the car.
These cars are multiple times safer than a human. You know, humans make mistakes as well.
And as for our ride, it was a success.
We made
Arriving safely.
Khosrowshahi says the hope is rides like these will also help lower costs.
One of the factors in terms of Uber rides costs going high is actually the cost of insurance. You see it in house insurance, disaster insurance. You're also seeing in car insurance as well. We're trying to lessen the cost as much as possible. It starts with safety, and I think these Waymo autonomous drivers are a great step in the right direction.
You're going to see more and more of these popping up. Uber says it's starting with dozens of cars in Austin with the plan to eventually reach hundreds in the near future. And if you prefer a traditional car with a driver, you can always opt out for that. And this is really only the beginning. Lyft also says it plans on launching autonomous cars in Atlanta this year and Dallas as soon as next year, guys. But I have to tell you, I was nervous at first.
Yeah.
But it seems so safe. The car is so smart. The Uber CEO and I actually took a little bit too long to get out of the car. A representative came up on the phone and asked if we were okay.
Yeah.
There's somebody
I see them
there
in LA
standing by.
all the time. I know some people say they will, some people say they won't. Some people just way more trusting than others.
Way more trusting than others.
You know, got to throw that in there.
It was a smooth ride. Gotta trust it.
Yeah.
Waymo.
Oh, get it away. Get it off of us, Lara.
You got it, Michael. You got it. We're going to change gears now, no pun intended, to a GMA health alert breaking overnight. The American Psychological Association teaming up with YouTube to release a new guide for parents on healthy screen habits for teens. We've done this before, but our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Dara Khosrowshahi, is back now with details on this. And the big change here, to me, as a parent of two kids, is that it's not just the amount of time, it's the content. So can you get into that for us and explain what that means?
Right. So in this report, psychologists reviewed decades worth of research on content and how it affects our teens and well-being. And they came up for evidence-based strategies that are practical for parents like you and me to use. But the big message, Lara, was exactly what you said, that it is the type of content that they're watching, what they're seeing, that matters much more than how they're getting it, whether it's television or videos or screens. And really, they broke it down into, not surprising, beneficial versus harmful content. Beneficial content was the type that looked at helping others, that showed empathy and compassion that they could apply to their own life. Educational content, where they could learn new skills, how to problem solve. I know my girls learn how to crochet and bake on YouTube, for example.
Fabulous. No problem there.
Exactly. And then content that was optimistic, uplifting, joyful, and even humorous.
Yep.
Harmful content, on the other hand, focused around aggression, violence, substance use, risky health challenges, and also self-harm and even unrealistic body standards. And those can be definitely damaging to kids.
That one is so concerning.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know the types of content. Can you give us some advice as parents?
Yeah, it's hard. There's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but the reality is, just as we teach our kids now to navigate healthy food choices in a sea of food, we have to now teach them how to navigate media. And so one thing parents can do is be good role models for digital content, setting our habits and they watch what we do.
Right.
The other thing is getting engaged in what your kids are watching. So asking them, for example, what are you looking at, with these open-ended questions? Why does this interest you? As opposed to being maybe critical or judgmental.
Or making big rules that they'll automatically want
rebel
to
against.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. And then also teaching them how to be savvy about what they can trust. So really talking to them about AI generated content, for example, or influencers or sponsored content. And then, watching together those joyful, optimistic, humorous videos. That can be a way to engage with them.
All right, really important information. Dr. Khosrowshahi, we thank you as always. All right, let's get over to you, Robin.
Okay, thank you both. Now to the science of you. And this morning, we're kicking off our 3-part series on cold and flu with a look at what you need to know about at-home testing when someone in your family is not feeling well. Becky Worley is here with those details for us. Good morning, Becky.
Good morning, Robin. When you're starting to get sick, you want to know, is it the flu? Is it COVID? Well, now a new at-home test can tell you all of that, and without a prescription.
I didn't know this existed until someone told me today.
When Elizabeth Lott of Beaumont, Texas noticed her son was sick, she had a feeling this was more than a cold.
My 7-year-old woke up at about 5 o'clock in the morning with a super high fever.
A single mom, she says heading to urgent care or the pediatrician can be a big undertaking.
Where I live and I have insurance, it costs about $140 to go to urgent care just to take those tests. I didn't want to get him out in urgent care and then get something else.
So a friend suggested she use an at-home test that tells you if you have COVID or the flu.
They make these. Bam.
These tests are very good for giving you quick and reasonably very accurate insights into what you may have and, importantly, tell you what you need to do next.
The tests average between $10 and $40. Do you need a prescription for these dual tests?
You don't need a prescription for the most part for these tests. You can get them at your local pharmacy. They're available online.
I did a order to go and they bring it out to your car, and it was great.
These work like the COVID tests we got so familiar with. But with this one, you have 4: control, flu A, flu B, and then COVID. Swab, put the fluid drops on a card, you know the drill. And the results? No COVID, no flu. Phew. But for Elizabeth's son, the test came back positive for flu A.
We just stayed home and we quarantined. You send one kid to school and then their whole class has it, and that sets everybody back a week. And so it's a lot, better for everybody to just take the test and be proactive.
There's the ability to get rapid results and decide on the course of treatment. You have early detection and the ability to decide on antivirals and reduce the use of antibiotics. You're ultimately reducing the spread of virus by getting this insight.
And for this little guy and his mom,
they smell really good.
A better outcome, knowing what they were dealing with. You want to look for a test with FDA emergency use authorization. And experts say if you get a positive flu or COVID result, you should call your doctor, maybe get a telemedicine appointment, because they can offer you antiviral medication options. And it helps to track outbreaks. And guys, my son had a cold last week, and I had some of these tests around and swabbed. It was just a cold. It wasn't flu or COVID. And I'll tell you, this mom had a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah,
I bet. I bet. I
but
love
just
the 3 for 1.
That one test can tell you what.
Everything.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, we got used to it in COVID, and now it's just a huge tool for helping us to stay home.
That's it.
Hey, Lara, get it popping with pop news.
All right, let's do it, Michael. We're going to begin with Lady Gaga, everybody, the Grammy winner. There we are. The Grammy winner announcing overnight that for the first time in 13 years, she will return to an arena-style stadium for one performance only in Mexico City. This is the date, April 26th. Billboard reporting this stop will likely be part of a world tour, not to worry, to support her upcoming album, Mayhem. Tickets go on sale this Friday, which, not coincidentally, is the same day her album drops. And this morning, we can also exclusively reveal that Gaga's teaming up with SiriusXM for a new Gaga radio channel. The music, all handpicked by Gaga herself, features behind-the-scenes stories from the singer-songwriter about the making of the new album, Mayhem, it's called again, and also the history behind her songs. You can do more than dance, too, on this channel because it will feature other artists who have inspired and influenced Gaga as well, including Bruce Springsteen, Tony Bennett. Gaga Radio kicks off this morning, runs through April 2nd, and as a reminder, album drops this Friday, and that's the same day as Michael has a big exclusive sit-down with Gaga, and I'm assuming she's going to talk to us all about the making of Mayhem.
Yep, got that and a lot more.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's called a good tease.
I know, that's it.
That's it.
Such a tease. Such a tease.
You gotta watch.
All right, I get it. Guys, also popping this morning. I for some reason I just want to look off into the sunset. Here we go. Thank you, Keisha. Yeah. Keisha's saying no, don't do me this morning. I'm going to do that. Okay, so it's a follow-up from Sunday night's Oscars. It is official. Adrian Brody took home the Oscar gold, and in the process, he also broke an Oscars record for the longest acceptance speech in history, clocking in at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. It surpasses a record that has stood since 1943 when that lady, Greer Garson, won for Mrs. Miniver. According to the Guinness Book of World Record, her speech, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. He got her by 10 seconds. And yeah, what did Demi Moore do after her surprising loss in the Best Actress category? Exactly what so many of us would do to me. She had some French fries. Good girl. Her daughter Tallulah shared this picture on Instagram with mom in a robe, chilling with some fries and her beloved little pilaf, her little cute doggy. And she wasn't the only one who enjoyed some comfort food. Cynthia Erivo celebrated her show-stopping performance with a stop at Raising Cane after the show for delicious chicken and fries. And also a lot to celebrate there. She didn't win, we know, the Best Actress Oscar, but she won so many new fans. In fact, her incredible opening number with Ariana Grande It had Spotify streams skyrocketing for songs from Wicked and all Oz-related films. Their version of Defying Gravity is up 95%, as well it should be. I get chills watching it again.
Wow.
So great.
I saw you carb loading yesterday morning.
And I'm carb loading again right now. Thank you for that segue. For you, Michael.
Oh, thank you.
For you.
Well, thank you,
And
ma'am.
we have a heart out, so eat quickly.
Okay.
Guys, it's time to celebrate Mardi Gras. Today's Fat Tuesday, so we got a king cake. It is a time-honored tradition. Usually on this day, Robin gets the baby. We don't know if that's by accident or it's been rigged, but today we can tell you that this cake, which is brought to us by the wonderful bakery, it's from IU Bakery, it's owned by Samantha Weiss and Kelly Jacques. This is Croissant City Classic King Cake made with croissant dough and cinnamon cream cheese.
Really
Voted
good.
number
Really good.
one in New Orleans, guys.
Really good.
The ladies at IU, they take the cake back to its roots, and they do a bean on top. Do we have a video of it? I know I can show it to you here live. It's a bean instead of a baby, and that's because they want to use less plastic. A bean is, I guess, what was used before. So everybody enjoy Fat Tuesday. And have a wonderful day. That's Pop News.
We'll be back.
Welcome back to GMA, live from Times Square.
Time now for Deals and Steals. And this morning we are celebrating Women's History Month, spotlighting women-run businesses with 6 owners joining us live here with Tori. So do the honors here. I
I'm
love
so
this jewelry.
excited to introduce you to this because, Lindsay, these are not your ordinary earrings. No, Tori, they're not. What makes our earrings so special and why we have gone viral is because of the flat, screw-on earring back. With our no-poke design, they are perfect for sleeping, swimming, and wearing every day. Exactly. If you don't want that poking, you got a fan over there in Lara. She knows we want comfortable earrings. So they're, first of all, adorable. But then they also have that really awesome feel-good element to it. Yes. That is why we love them. We also love the price. Everything's slashed in half. You've hooked us up, Lindsay, starting at $16. Yeah. No doubt. Really good earrings. Good also for all ages.
Well, you didn't see her boots. Tell everybody your Texas boots. There you go. You got the style.
There you go. Thanks, from earrings to hair. Baba told me that you wrecked your hair for a decade. Bleaching, straightening, chemical overload, and you were determined to figure out a solution that you could use without having to go to the salon.
That's right. Believe it or not, I completely burned my hair after a decade of bleaching it, straightening it, completely damaging it. I restored it by upgrading my regular shower for a treatment wash. Focus on scalp care and guava. Guava is where it's at.
Let Robin smell that. That smells so
natural
good.
products, right?
This is so good. Yeah, this is all natural ingredients from Latin America.
Oh my goodness.
And this is inspired by the rituals that I grew up with as the daughter of a Chilean hairdresser.
I said, are you going to walk into the studio with the best looking hair? And she said to me, I better. I bet she did. And she did, because
I completely transformed my hair with this collection. Yeah.
And I know so many people have. This is something that GMA viewers have suggested and recommended. They love these products. You don't have to change your routine, but just once a week, making that change can truly transform your hair. Everything slashed in half starts at $8.
Oh, wonderful.
That's a great one. That's a great one. Okay, another really phenomenal, important one.
How are you?
Plastic-free mealtime sets for kids. Really for all of us, but intended for kids initially.
That's right. I'm actually a pediatrician, and science tells us that plastic is harmful to human health. Sure. And so now pediatricians are recommending stainless steel as the safe option for your family dining table. But a HIMSA steel is not only safe, it's beautiful. It's stunning. The kids are obsessed with it. And most of our parents will tell us their child won't use anything else. But you can use it too.
And you can use it too. And it looks gorgeous, but most important, plastic free. All of the sets today slash in half. The sets start at $34.
Oh, the colors are so good.
The colors are gorgeous. The colors are gorgeous.
Doctor.
And they're healthy. Okay, so Robin, I got to give you credit for this one. You met Jen at a conference in Florida, and you said to me, you need to meet Jen. I think she'd be perfect for Deals and Steals.
A fellow thriver.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Yes. Hi. So I founded Future You Project when I was going through a difficult time in my life, and a friend of mine started anonymously sending me gifts and letters from my future self. And the experience was so impactful that I wanted to share it with the world. So I created Future You Project.
I love this.
It's so good. I mean, each of the products, there's just a simple phrase that could mean so much. You sent all of us these little stones that just this little sweet, I am wonderful, I am worthy, I am enough. To be able to gift that to somebody, you don't even know how impactful that is. Well, you do because someone did that for you.
That's exactly
you do.
right, and I want it for everyone.
To feel that. To feel that.
I hope people will take the time to get to know your backstory because it is so incredible. So incredible, Jen, and so proud of you.
I'm proud of every one of these products that you've created because there's real intention and a desire to be so powerful with each of them. All of them today slashed in half. This is the one you were teasing that starts under $3, and you could really make someone feel good.
I've been waiting to see this now.
My magic carpet.
Okay. Yes. Doesn't it feel like keeping your rugs clean can be impossible, especially if you have kids and pets? Well, my magic carpet makes it effortless. What sets us apart is our one-piece design. We are 100% machine washable with a built-in non-slip backing attached. So when it's time to clean your rug, you simply pick it up, put it in the washer and dryer, and lay it back out clean. It's
I also
so
love that
easy.
there's this waterproof liner in there. So if you
Exactly.
spill, if you're just using it in a kitchen or any high traffic area and you spill, it really does protect your floor.
Kids spill, pet accidents.
The floor is not going to get ruined
That's
when
exactly
you use
right.
these. And they look so beautiful.
They're
and we
great.
have a huge assortment that you will find online as well. But you were asking, is it truly machine washable? It is. I use it. I promise
it's
you.
100% washable.
Robin's going to put it to the test. You'll save today on a huge assortment, up to 67% off. The sizes start at $28.
And I love the name, My Magic Carpet.
Yes, because it is indeed. It is indeed. Lynn is going to bring us home. This is Filter Baby.
So tell us about it.
Yes, so the tap water we use every day can contain chlorine, rust, lead, and so much more that impact your skin and hair health. Our clinically tested faucet filter improves skin hydration in just 2 weeks, and our lab-certified shower filters remove 99% of key contaminants.
Wow.
They both easily attach to your faucet or shower and powerfully remove the tap water nasties, giving you glowing skin and fuller hair.
Which you are proof of that. But look at the difference of these.
This is a new filter.
That's a new filter.
And this is after a month of use.
Wow.
Healthy skin and hair.
Yes.
Start with your water.
Start with your water. They're easy to use, and if someone has trouble, your team is there to assist with making sure that it fits properly. These are great. Honestly, Robin, all of these are great. 50% off and free shipping today from Filter Baby is fabulous. But I'm so excited by everybody here. I'm so excited by everyone.
Business owners. It's not easy to come on Good Morning America Live and give your 30-second elevator pitch as you did, and it was all well done. So thank you.
So well done.
Terry. I cannot.
I answer to anything. You've known me long enough. You could call me anything.
We have partnered with these companies on these great deals, and you can get them by heading directly to our website. And Tori is going to be back with more women-run businesses tomorrow.
Now, with one of the world's top gymnasts, Jordan Childs, the two-time Olympian, is out with a new memoir called I'm That Girl, Living the Power of My Dreams, where she opens up about her personal journey, including the medal controversy at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. Jordan Childs, welcome to GMA. We are very, very lucky and happy to have you here. Drop my card right there. But, you know, I want to... You wrote a book.
Yes.
You're 23. You have so much life ahead of you. So why write this book right now?
I think it was really to show the world that it took me 23 years to get into this position that I'm in right now, being a two-time Olympian, a world champion, and many more other accolades that are connected to me, and just to show that people can say a lot of things about you and create a story, but why not just tell your story the right way? My dad always told me every lesson that I learned would always be in a book one day, and now to know that it's in my hands and that, you know, I got to create something that was very dedicated to who I was and just be as important as my life.
You're telling your own story. No one can tell it for you. But it's been a roller coaster of emotions for you. I mean, you were Paris Olympics, you won the gold with the team, but then your bronze medal in the individual floor category was rescinded. How are you doing with all of that right now?
I can tell you I'm doing way better than I was when it first happened.
I can imagine.
I definitely, you know, I can only do so much for myself, is really focus on my mental, and knowing that I've been at UCLA and competing with the team has really helped with that. And I'm going to continue to fight and understand that I can only control what I can do with myself and let everything else just be on the back end of whether my lawyer or my attorney are doing whatever they can to continue to fight for that.
And what happens if you don't get it back?
I mean, I'm just going to continue on to move with life. Again, I can't control what happens at the end of the day. I just know what's right with me and that I'm always going to just continue to look forward.
And you've always faced adversity in gymnastics. Sometimes being the only black female at the gym, but there was a moment I think that made so many of us proud at the Olympics, an all black podium. What was that like to be a part of history like that?
Well, being a part of history is definitely a huge thing. One day, I hope that I can show my kids, like, look what I did. I was part of history in an amazing sport at being a 2-time Olympian. So it's really cool that I could show the younger generation that no matter what you do in life, no matter what dreams you have, you can always conquer them and that anything can happen. And so it's really cool to be able to be in that position. And standing next to 2 icons, Rebecca Andrade and Simone, it was definitely an honor, and I just felt comfortable in that position.
Well, you're an icon yourself, by the way. Don't shortchange yourself. You're an icon, too.
Thank you.
But in this book, you talk about a lot of other personal things because it's been a lot of work, and you've been impacted by so much, including like your relationship with food, and that it was damaged by a former coach, which led to a eating disorder, suicidal thoughts as well. What can you tell us about how that tough experience shaped you?
Every woman goes through a lot of things, whether it's mental health, whether it's physical within them. And I think understanding that our trauma can sometimes make us stronger in ways that not a lot of people can see. And going through those things, I understand now as I'm older that it was something that I was always going to go through no matter what. I was taught to be strong. I was taught to be confident. I was taught a lot of those things by my own mom, and just to understand that at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to stand on 2 feet and be encouraged and be, seen in millions of different ways. And everything that I've done has been a gift from God. And so I've just been able to stay resilient and stay independent and just to continue to show the world what it's like to be loved and to be grateful.
And you said 2-time Olympian. Okay, so what's next? Is there a 3-time Olympian? You're going to keep competing? What's the word? What are you going to do?
It's still in my head. I'm not going to give a full answer. I think just being able to be with my UCLA team right now, I have another year after this season to, represent UCLA, and then we'll see. I think the biggest thing is just to stay positive, and they always say as an athlete, you can mentally do whatever you want to do, but it's the physical part of everything. So just making sure that I can continue physically in a way that I feel comfortable.
And are you finding other interests outside of gymnastics?
I am finding other interests. I mean, I love, as you can tell, I don't know, you saw me doing flag football. I love playing other sports, and I think just discovering things outside of my own sport is really cool. I'm a very creative girl, so just discovering things that I can use my brain with, and I just think it's really cool that I have more to myself than just being an artistic gymnast.
I'll tell you right now, you're crushing the fashion game,
Thanks,
too.
I love fashion. And fashion is me.
We can see. There we go. We find these interests. Jordan, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's so delightful to have you here, and we love watching you compete.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
And go grab this book, I'm That Girl. It is out today, everybody. Gonna go to you, Ginger.
Thank you, Michael. Time now to reveal our March GMA Book Club pick. It is called Count My Lies by debut author Sophie Stava. This is a read-in-one-night kind of thriller that all starts with a little white lie and ends up turning every character's world upside down. It's about secrets, pride, and how the truth always comes to light. Our Rebecca Jarvis sat down with Sophie. We're going to have their conversation later this week. Meanwhile, Count My Lies is available now.
Coming up, this guy, Doctor Odyssey star Joshua Jackson is with us live on GMA. Hey, we have a great guest with us, Joshua Jackson. He plays the ship doctor on board the addictive medical drama, Doctor Odyssey. Such a great show. And he's joining us now before the mid-season premiere. Set sail. Love the show, and always so good to see you.
Thank you for having me
I did
back.
not run into you this weekend at the Oscars, but I know you were there.
I was.
And I understand that you ran into a dear old friend at the Vanity Fair party.
I did. There's a lot of familiar. I mean, it's a very intense room, so there's a lot of unfamiliar faces as well. But I ran into my friend Salma Blair, who I haven't seen in a long, long time. We did a movie together, I think, 25 years ago.
Cruel Intentions.
Yeah,
such a good movie.
Yeah, and it was really lovely to see her and catch up and just have that moment with several people that night. I had a really good night.
Yeah, it is a special, I mean, it's the Hollywood's big night. And it's so fun you were there, and thank you for being here so shortly after.
Of course.
I appreciate the jet lag.
Yes, exactly. I've got about 25 more minutes of Compass Mentis, and then I'm just going to fall apart.
All right, then we're on it. We better get to it. I want to talk Doctor Odyssey because we love the show, and we understand that you guys are going for it with a shark attack coming up.
Yeah, we're coming back with a bang here in the mid-season. So we have a two-parter, like old school style, two-part episode. The first half of it is Sharks Odyssey style. Very stylish sharks.
I love that.
And then we have a second part, which I don't want to give away the big reveal into the second part, but yeah, we're coming back with these two big, like, kind of over-the-top Odyssey style action-adventure episodes.
And by Odyssey style, over the top is the perfect word.
By Odyssey style, I mean you can get a shark bite, but your hair will still look fantastic.
Exactly. Perfectly said. And in fact, we were able to get an exclusive clip, so take a look.
We're not equipped to do a double amputation. We're low on blood, antibiotics.
The crew can donate if necessary, but I agree with you. This is a tricky operation, should be done in a real operating room, but he'll be dead by the time we get him to one. A guillotine transtibial amputation is our best bet.
He'd lose too much soft tissue.
A faster cut reduces the risk of septic shock.
Reconstruction would be way more difficult. Brody is young and athletic. Mobility matters.
Really, more than staying alive.
I like your very snug-fitting wetsuit for that scene.
Rudy Mance, that's on you. Thank you.
Yeah. The show is great fun. I mean, it's just pure entertainment. It keeps you guessing all the time. A lot of fan theories about the show. I'm sure you've heard some of them. Some fans think that the whole show, in the end, that we'll find out, it's all a fever dream that you're having.
Mm-hmm.
That's one theory. Some people think that this is in the afterlife.
I like this one even better.
If that's heaven, I want a part of it.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to know from you, what is the craziest theory that you've heard?
Well, if you do a deep dive on that This Is Purgatory conspiracy theory, people go really, really deep into that idea and picking out who all the characters are, if it is heaven, and like which one associates with which angel, and it gets pretty deep. Yeah,
that has to, I mean, it has to make you happy though that fans care so much.
Well, and like you said, the show is meant to be fun.
Yes.
Our show is meant to be enjoyable. We want you to come and have a good time. This week we take you on an adventure where there's shark bites. Next week we can't tell you yet what happens. After that, Angela Bassett comes. We do a crossover with 911. You're meant to come and enjoy it for 45 minutes. So yeah, we love the conspiracy theories. We love reading about all the fan theories. You know, we want that engagement with people who are hopefully enjoying the show.
Yeah, and part of what they're enjoying is that some of the plots are out there. So we would love to play. We want to play a quick game with you. Come on over here.
Okay.
So will you help me rank these? So many shocking moments.
Yes.
Funny. Wild. I mean, Ryan Murphy's just having a good time. You can tell.
He is.
So we want you to rank the three of the shocking moments we've seen on the show in order from the mildest to the wildest. 3 being the mildest, 1 being the wildest. You have your numbers ready. So let's rank the 3. So the first one is the poor woman nose. There she is. Her nose falls off on the cruise. That's a bummer. This next one is when a passenger swallowed a rubber ducky. You know, it does happen. And the third, I love this episode when this guy ODs on the free shrimp.
So good.
So
this is at the beginning of our season. This couple is perhaps my favorite couple of the entire year. They were
15 seconds,
so
no
good.
pressure.
15 seconds. Okay. Does this take us all the way to the surgery, or is it just the swallowing?
Oh, to the surgery.
To the surgery. Okay, well then that's definitely. Oops.
Here.
Corner.
Bottom corner. There we go.
Oh, you guys have done this before.
Nose fall off. I agree. Nose fall off. Do we all agree?
Yeah.
Nose fall off.
Okay.
Poison. I mean, this one though.
Really?
This one hooked me, and that was it.
They had us at hello.
Yes.
But when you get into the necrotic bowel with this, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah. Okay.
That
and on
one's-
that note,
Yeah,
enjoy your
exactly.
breakfast,
Have
everybody.
breakfast, exactly.
Dr. Odyssey.
Enjoy your omelets, everybody.
This guy's the best. Dr. Odyssey's two-part mid-season premiere Thursday night, 9/8 Central, right here on ABC. Please come back soon.
Of course.
Thank you.
So Lady Gaga on Friday, but tomorrow, Carrie Underwood, Lionel, and Luke Bryan live here ahead of American Idol's new season.
Oh yeah, gonna be always fun when they're here. Always fun. And you know what? Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great day.
See ya.